what the black man and woman needs to know about the nation, about the world, about themselves. Muhammad Speaks It. To order your 12-issue subscription to Muhammad Speaks newspaper, 313-371-7033. 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie is the grand champion of all bean pies. The rich flavor and smooth texture takes this pie to a whole new level of delicious. One bite and you'll understand why people all over the country call daily to order Kareem Bean Pie. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie.
This bean pie is delicious.
Muhammad Speaks presents Messenger Elijah Muhammad's Teachings by Minister Khalil Shabazz every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, 12609 East McNichols Road in Detroit.
Brothers and sisters, rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Soul Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and Thee alone seek for Thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path of those upon whom Thou spell Thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom Thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard Thy teachings. Say He, Allah is one God. Allah is He of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is He begotten, there is none like Him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served, worship, or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is that true servant and last apostle. Ameen. We'd like to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu Alaikum. We have Sister Catrice of New Jersey. We have Brother Captain Hakeem and the believers in Richmond. We have Brother Mustafa and Sister Sharice Ali in Ohio. And we have Brother Jeffrey Shabazz of North Carolina. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of His last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. Today we'd like to talk about Black Muslims founded Islam. Since this is Black History Month, guess this would be a good topic for history. Because we don't know that we are the founders of Islam. If you want to say it was founded, we founded it. Because most people in this, as the messengers say, the old world of Islam, they start Islam with the Arabs. They don't know that we are the ones, even if you want to start it with Prophet Muhammad. We the ones who founded it, even with Prophet Muhammad. But we always got to talk about my favorite person, Bus Stop Bishop. I was listening to this nigga this week, once again. They verbally attacking the messenger, once again. This week, he got a video called A Must Watch for Christians and Muslims. So I screenshotted on the part where he's showing two Arabs. And he trying to make the black man to believe that the poor children of Israel was practicing their religion. Then these wicked Arabs came and enslaved the poor children of Israel. Then they forced these righteous poor children of Israel to practice Islam. Because the nigga want to be the messenger so bad. The messenger taught us that the black man is a Muslim by nature.
That's right.
That's what he taught us. He said all black people are Muslims. and we Muslims by nature. So because when all of the niggas like Bishop wanted to start making their religion black, now they say all black people is Israelites. So he got and in this video, not only is he talking about the Arabs enslaved these poor children of Israel, he also talking about how black Muslims are wicked. He say we evil. This what this nigga saying. And like I said last week, I'm happy that he's saying. Because he gonna cause a clash between the Nation of Islam and this nigga. That's what he gonna do. Because what Muslim is gonna sit around and allow him to continue to verbally attack us and don't say nothing? It ain't gonna happen. Because if we want to live our life freely be Muslims, have children and raise them to be Muslims. What if your child on the internet, he got the title called a must-watch for Christians and Muslims? Your little Muslim daughter, 10 years old, let me click on this. She listened to this nigga, Mud Watch the Messenger, talk against Islam, and she don't hear no Muslim to defend what she believes. How would that affect her? So then they got another video. It's called Israel versus Islam. Which one are you? Then they got another. It says you will not believe in Islam after this. And I just chose 3. Can't you say everything? Only got an hour. But this was just the 3 I chose. But next a couple weeks, we about to have the Lip Love Convention, where everybody about to get together and say how much lip love you got for the messenger. Oh, praise due to Allah Muhammad. We done love him. We so thankful for the coming of man. We just love him. But all year, these nigga Israelites disrespecting everything we believe. Now let's get into the topic. Why don't we know about Samaria or Samaya bint is called Kayat? Why don't we know about her? She is the first martyr of Islam. A black woman. What does it mean when you say a martyr? It says a martyr is a person who voluntarily suffers death as the penalty of witnessing to and refusing to renounce a religion. A person who sacrifices something of great value, especially life itself, for the sake of principle. So the first person to sacrifice their life for Islam was a black woman. She was being persecuted by the Arabs. Because what people fail to tell us in the old world of Islam, Islam is not an Arab religion. Islam was offered to the Arabs. That's what we got to know.
Yes, sir.
When Prophet Muhammad came as the prophet, he didn't come to force nobody to accept Islam. He just came to offer. So when Prophet Muhammad was offering Islam, the Arabs rejected it. They rejected Islam the same way the Jews rejected Islam with Jesus. We got to make that clear. Because when Jesus came among the Jews, he offered them Islam. They rejected it. The only difference between the Arabs and the Jews is the messenger said that Prophet Muhammad did more to fight for the truth of Islam than any prophet in history. That's what he said. Yes, Prophet Muhammad, as the messenger said, you got to learn to speak the language of the people. Whatever language they speaking, that's the kind of language you got to speak. Jesus didn't speak the language. When the Jews would come for Jesus, he would flee. A lot of times you hear Jesus had to flee. Muhammad didn't flee. He said, I'm about to speak their language. I'm about to get armed. We about to fight to establish Islam in Mecca. So when Prophet Muhammad first began to establish or to offer Islam, the Arabs rejected it. But the black man accepted it. Another point. The messenger said the black man is a Muslim by nature.
That's right.
So when the black man, the black slave, because Samaya was a slave, she living among these pagan Arabs. When Prophet Muhammad came and said it's only one God, she knew he was right. Even though she living among these pagan Arabs, they believe it's 365 gods. They got one God for every day of the week. They got these gods set up in the Kaaba. Samaya know it's only one God. So when she heard Prophet Muhammad offer Islam, she accepted. So when she accepted, the Arabs didn't like it. Because all of those black people who accepted Islam during the time of Prophet Muhammad, they was persecuted. That's why she is the first martyr. The second one is her husband. He went after her. Let's read a little bit about Sister Samaya. This Arab right here, this the messenger when he was talking about. So I listened to a lot of his videos. When he was talking about the messenger, he was like, he was a racist. But sometimes you got to just get the truth where you can get it from. Other than that, he do pretty good by telling the history. So he tells the history of Samaya. He talks about how she was tortured. He talks about the name of her slave master. Because the history of Prophet Muhammad is not like the history of the Bible. It's real history. It's not the spookism that you read when you read the Bible. So let's read about what happened to Samaya. It says, remember, the first 7 to accept Islam, out of the 7, only Khadijah and Abu Baraka had their tribe to protect them. The other 5 were Bilal, Kababa, Sahab, Samaya, and her son Ammar, all without tribes. The 5 of them, including other early Muslims like Samaya's husband, Yashir, was subject to great public torture. They were forced to wear metal armor and were then beaten under the hot sun. Samaya particularly was undeterred and annoyed Abu Jahar the most. The more Abu Jahal experimented different torture on her, the more she made Zakir and smiled in his face. Prophet Muhammad could not do anything to save them from the torture, but would walk past and say, "Be patient, O family of Yasir. You have a place in Jannah." That's a very important point. Prophet Muhammad didn't even have no power, no army, no authority to do nothing for them. This how early on it was in his offering Islam. He couldn't even do nothing for them. He would tell them about Islam, they would accept, they slave master taught, he couldn't do nothing. All he could do was walk past and tell them to suffer in patience. That's the black man. But we don't know nothing about that. That's why the messenger taught us about the old world of Islam. He said the old world of Islam is ruled by the white man. But the new world of Islam will be ruled by the black man. Now let's go on even further with her story. It says this beautiful family was tied to the tree trunk, all within view of each other. After torturing them for days, Yacub looks like he is about to die. Abu Jahir turns to Samaya and said, "Your husband is going to die before you. You probably will be happy when he does, because you love Muhammad so much, you want to marry him after your husband passes." At this insult, Samaya spits in his face, in the face of Abu Jahal, and says, "May you be humiliated by Allah, O enemy of Allah. What a vulgar and foul person you are. You are smaller to me in my eyes than a beetle that I would step on in the ground." Hearing this, Abu Jahal was so incensed that he took a spear and stabbed Samaya in her abdomen, granting her the honor of being the first martyr of Islam. So we see in the old world of Islam, the first black people who accepted Islam was tortured. They had to suffer just to be a Muslim. It says, the history says, that Prophet Muhammad got his first revelation in 16. They say they don't know exactly when Samaya accepted Islam, but she died in 615. That's how early on the black people was accepting Islam. Then you have another example with Bilal, another black man who was tortured. When Bilal heard of Prophet Muhammad, teaching of one God, he accepted that. He lived among the pagan Arabs. But the messenger said the black man is a Muslim by nature. So when Bilal heard of Prophet Muhammad, teaching that it's only one God, he said that he accepted it as soon as he heard about it. So they said that his slave master was upset. So they would torture Bilal. So they said that Bilal would just hold up one finger, and whatever the word is in Arabic for one, that's all he would say. One. While his slave master beating and torturing him. One. It's only one God. That's what the black man knew by nature. But the question is, why don't we know about that? Let's look at a simple Google search. It says, I Googled what year did Arabs accept Muhammad? It says, according to historical records, Arabs began to widely accept Muhammad and his teachings around 622 CE. Mind you, he got his first revelation in 610 CE. So that's a 12-year gap. Then it goes on to say, when he migrated from Mecca to Medina, an event known as the Hijra, which marks the beginning of the Islamic calendar. That's a very important point for us to know about the old world of Islam. They start the Islamic calendar in 622. Prophet Muhammad got his first revelation in 610. What about them 12 years in between 610 and 622? They start their calendar when Prophet Muhammad left Mecca to go to Medina, where they wasn't getting persecuted, where they accepted what he was saying. That's when they start the Islamic calendar. That's why the messenger said, the old world of Islam is ruled by the white man, but the new world of Islam will be ruled by the black man. Because why would you start the Islamic calendar at 622 CE? The Holy Quran says that all the prophets was Muslims. Yes. The Holy Quran chapter 31 says Luqman was a Muslim. Luqman was an Ethiopian. Yes. So why would you start the Islamic calendar in 622? We got to keep that in mind. Because that's why niggas like Bishop can always try to tell the black man that we was forced Islam. Because if you start the Islamic calendar at 622, then you starting it with the Arabs. You starting it when they began to say, oh, okay, I like this Islam stuff. We gonna start accepting. So it makes it to look like Prophet Muhammad came to them. And he only was with them in this day religion, something that benefits them. But for 12 years, they rejected Islam. Not only did they reject it, they was torturing the black man. Now let's go on to another very important event in the history of Islam with Prophet Muhammad. We got to talk about what they call the Hijra to Abyssinia. This is Hijra means migration. The Muslims had to migrate to Ethiopia the first time in 613 CE and the second time 616 CE, all before 622. Why didn't Prophet Muhammad, if Islam is the Arab religion like that no good nigga Bishop said, Islam is an Arab religion and it was forced on us and all that, why didn't he seek or have them migrate among Arabs for safety? He had to tell them to go to a people who wasn't even Muslims. Abyssinia or Ethiopia at that time was Christian. But the messenger said, the black man is a Muslim by nature. So when the king of Ethiopia heard about Prophet Muhammad, he felt like he ain't teaching nothing no different than what we teach. It's only one God. He teaching that Jesus was a prophet. That's what we believe. He not saying nothing different than what we saying. They can come over here and seek refuge if they want to. Now let's look at what it says about this migration. It says the migration to Abyssinia was a period in early Islamic history when Muslims fled Arabia for refuge in the kingdom of Aksum. The migration took place in the early years of the Prophet Muhammad's mission. It says, why did the migration take place? The Muslims were persecuted by the Quraysh, the ruling Arab tribal confederation of Mecca. The Muslims wanted to practice Islam freely. So they was practicing Islam. They accepted Islam. long before the Arabs. They was being persecuted. So Prophet Muhammad told them, go back to Africa, among your own people. Because Africa, quote unquote, supposedly where the black man come from. Because most of the people that was black, that was in Arabia at that time, or in Mecca, was from Ethiopia. Because it was a king named Abraham. He tried to take over Ethiopia or Mecca with elephants. He wasn't successful. So all of the Ethiopians that came with him became his slaves. That's the truth of the history. So most of the people like Bilal was an Ethiopian. Samaya was an Ethiopian. Prophet Muhammad's mother, his biological mother died when he was 6 years old. But a black woman from Ethiopia, I forget what her name was. She cared for Prophet Muhammad from the time he was 6 till he became a grown man. She was an Ethiopian. She accepted Islam. She was a slave. All this happened before the Arabs. So the black people went to Ethiopia to hide. The first time they went was in 613, and the second time they went was 616. So let's go on even further. Then another point that I like to make is with J.A. Rogers. J.A. Rogers was not a Muslim. He wasn't a Christian. He wasn't a Jew. So he would see the history of the black man in Islam, and he would put Prophet Muhammad in your history. This comes from the March 7th, 1936 Pittsburgh Carrier. Because when you just look at the history, the black man wasn't a slave in Islam. The first martyrs was black. Some of the first generals in Prophet Muhammad's armies was black. You had black people being persecuted just for accepting Islam. So when J.A. Rogers saw that, so y'all need to know your history in Islam. So he would put Prophet Muhammad in your history as if he was one of us. He didn't see no difference. He saw Prophet Muhammad as a black man. He saw him doing something, coming in and spreading Islam, and the black man helping him. Black man was generous. He said he didn't see no racism with Prophet Muhammad. He talked about how Prophet Muhammad treated his people equal. He was talking about in Europe. I forget what country that the Christians took over. J.A. Rogers said if Islam would have been a religion that took over instead of Christianity, it wouldn't have been no racism. That's how much J.A. Rogers used to praise Islam. He praised Islam all the way up until the year that he died. This comes from the January 1st, 1966 Pittsburgh Carrier. Because one of the points that I always like to make is when we're talking about the history of Islam, we got to understand how was Islam being taught, or the history of Islam being taught, before the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made Islam so popular in America. We always got to remember that. Because of the messenger and people's jealousy of the messenger, that's why they tell us that Islam is an Arab religion. Because after the messenger, everybody began to update their religion based on what he said. But they were so jealous of the messenger that they didn't want to give him credit. Because the messenger taught us about religions. He said the black man is of the righteous. That's who we are. He said Islam was made into a religion. Islam is not a religion. Islam is the nature of the black man. But But he taught us that God gave the devil 6,000 years to rule. So because there's so many religions, he said Islam became a religion. Just so we can know what the right path was. So our nature or Islam became a religion. But in actuality, Islam is not a religion. Islam is the nature of the black man. But one more point that we got to know about the Arabs. This comes from, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the first race mixing happened in Arabia. Let's go to the message. This comes from the May 1962 Muhammad Speaks. And it's called, Who is the Original Man? This was an interview that the messenger had. It says, Messenger Muhammad answers 4 key questions on program. It says, whites given Europe. Mr. Muhammad went on to say, the white race after their creation 6,000 years ago was given the part of the earth which today is called Europe. It is this white race of people who actually started the sin of intermixing, which is forbidden by God, the 2 strange bloods. They have disregarded all divine laws of Allah God. They even seek to change the very natural law of man in which he is made. They first mixed with the original black Arab. Then, as they traveled over the earth for the past approximate 500 years, they, the white race, have mixed with the brown, yellow, and red races. They captured the blacks and made slaves of them. So that's the teachings of the message. That's why you have so much racism among the Arabs. Because the old school Muslims used to say that the Arabs is the cousins of the white man. Because the first race mixing happened among the Arabs. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the Holy Land, that the Bible calls the Garden of Eden, that's really talking about Mecca. That's the Holy Land. He said, but the white man wrote the Bible to hide the truth from the black man. First thing he did to hide the truth, he calls it a garden. What do you think about when you think about a garden? You think about some place behind your house where you growing plants and vegetables. That's what a garden is. So the white man put these things in symbolic language to hide the truth from the black man. Because when you put something in symbolic language, you know the truth, but you know the person who reading it don't know the truth. So the Holy Land is Mecca. You don't say Mecca, you say the Garden of Eden. Then they say the Garden of Eden is somewhere in Iraq. They don't really know where it is, but they say it's somewhere in Iraq. Then you go on to hide the truth and talk about trees having the knowledge of good and evil. Then you talk about a serpent. You say it was a serpent in the garden. And in this garden, he tricked Adam and Eve. Then you try to make the black man believe that Adam and Eve are the first 2 people on earth. Then you make them believe God is a spook or a spirit. So when God says, you don't say when the black man said. You say when God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. That was a spook. But man came out to be a human. But we was made in the image and the likeness of a spook. The messenger said, if God is a spirit, we would be spirits. If God is a spook, we would be spooks. Because it says that Adam was made in the image and likeness of God. But the messenger said, in that new world of Islam, he asked us a very valuable question. He said, who is the original man? That's a question that the old world of Islam don't like. Because when you ask the black man, who is the original man, you killing the Islamic calendar. Because the Holy Quran says, Islam is the nature in which Allah has created man. Then it says you cannot alter what Allah has made. So that means no matter what condition you see the black man in, he's still a Muslim. And when you talking about the new world of Islam, and you include the black man, you got to start from the beginning. You can't start from 622. You got to go all the way before creation. The messenger said you got to start with God himself. As that little spark in the universe. That's where you got to start. You got to start even before the earth was made. You got to start with the first one. The messenger said God created himself in the triple darkness of the universe. He said that the black man is the only self-created man on earth. That kills this calendar. Because if the black man is self-created, then who is this made man? Because you can't be original and made in the image and the likeness of something else. That's not original. The messenger said that Adam was a made man. The black man is self-created. Two different me. So this made man, the messenger said, the made man is the white race. Yeah. Let's go on with the message. I don't want to miss a beat. So let's go on with the messenger and how he talked about the Arab. He told us that first, the first race mixing happened among the Arabs. The original black Arabs. Then he goes on to say, this comes from the July 3rd, 1970, Muhammad Speaks. It's called World Confusion and Revolution. It says, in the stage of the making of the devil, the white race, confusion existed between the Arab world and Yacub, the father of the devil. Yacub, a black scientist's teachings to his made man, the white race, was that they make mischief in the land and rule the aboriginal black people by dividing them one against another. So that's what we got to understand. When Yacub came and was born, he was born in the Arab world. The messenger said 20 miles outside of the holy city of Mecca, Arabia. But Yacub caused confusion in the Holy Land when he made his made man the white race. That was the first confusion that the black man ever had, was Yacub. He coming making a new man on our planet. Nobody knew what Yacub was up to. And what he was doing was causing confusion. So the messenger goes on. He says, in order to destroy the power of the enemy, the white race, at that time, they decided to drive Yacub's made white race into the hills and mountains of West Asia, which is now known as Europe. 6,000 years ago, that desolate wilderness was known as West Asia. Disagreement was accepted. Therefore, the devil had to be driven into what is now called Europe. Another fact, the devil in the Holy Land, that the white man caused
the Garden of Eden. They called the white race Adam. God had laws and rules that he was teaching Adam. This is what you need to do. Because the story is a symbolic story. It really wasn't nobody named Adam in no garden, but this is how the white man tells the story. So there was laws and rules that Allah gave to Adam. Because Allah always had a religion. His religion was always Islam. So, bust our bishop now. Because they want to hide that Islam is the original religion, they say that God's religion, or God don't have a religion. He just have laws, statutes, and commands. But what was the name of God's religion? What was the name of his laws? What was the name of his statutes? Because he named everything else. God named the birds. He named the ants. He named the animals. He named the plants. He named everything. But Buster Bishop want us to think. He didn't name his religion though. He just gave them statutes, laws, and commands. So if he didn't name his religion, what happens when the devil comes and takes some of God's laws and statutes and mix it with the wrong laws and statutes? How would you know? How would you know the difference? If God's religion didn't have a name. God's religion did have an Islam. So Adam was given these laws and rules in the garden. So the messenger said Adam was the first mischief maker. Adam was the first sinner. Adam was the one causing trouble in the Holy Land. But they called it the garden. So in the story, when Adam caused so much trouble and God got sick of Adam, he kicked him out of the garden. The messenger said that happened to the white race in the holy city of Mecca, Arabia.
Yes, sir.
He said after Yacub made his death, he left them literature. He taught them how to rule the black man. So when Yacub was in Arabia, he said confusion was accepted. So the white man or Yacub already left his stain among the Arabs. That's why they so racist. That's why they hate the black man. Because the white race or Yacub left a stain. Even though they exiled the devil. They exiled them into the caves and hillsides of Europe. But confusion was accepted. The white man left his stain. So for 6,000 years, there has even been a stain in the Holy Land. Imagine that. It's a stain in heaven. Confusion was accepted in heaven. So let's go on even further than that. The messenger says, according to the teachings of God, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to me, EU stands for hills and rope, means that these people, the white race, were roped in and isolated from the peaceful world of the Muslim Arabs. He says after Yacub's made man, the white race, was driven out, the Arabs was not completely at peace because the devil had left his stain of dissatisfaction and mischief making among the people of the Arab world. The stain remained because it was due to the given time of Yacub's made man to serve the people with that which they never were served under before, confusion and bloodshed. The Arabs thought that isolation and the banishing of the white race into the hills and cave sides of Europe would be the end of Yacub's made man, the white race. The white man was made by nature to do that which his father made for him. He could not help but carry out the law under which he was made. And he has been doing so ever since he was made. He has not disobeyed his father, Yacub's law. That's the messenger. That's why he taught us we are the righteous. And the white race is the wicked. They cannot change what they was made by nature to do. But this was something that we didn't know. The truth, the messenger said, has been put under signs and symbols. Because the white race was given 6,000 years to rule. He said that Mecca was just a spark. Not a flame. Not a whole fire. But just a spark. That's all Mecca has been for just a spark. Just to keep the light of Islam shining, just a little spark. The messenger said, when he talked about the Kaaba, he said the black stone represents the black man. But he said the Kaaba has been veiled. Or the truth of the Kaaba has been veiled until the end. So nobody knows that the black man is that stone that the builders have rejected. We don't even know. Even though we see that it was Muslims who was Muslims following Prophet Muhammad 12 years before the Arabs. They reject them. Because the black man is the stone that the builders have rejected. It seemed like if you was going to start any church, you would start it with Samaya, a black woman, a mother, and a wife who sacrificed it all for her belief. Prophet Muhammad had only been on the scene for 5 years. The whole revelation wasn't even given yet. It took 23 years for Prophet Muhammad to receive the whole Quran. 23 years. And within 5 years, you had a black woman, a wife, a mother, willing to sacrifice it all for her belief. So how would you start a calendar talking about Muslims when the persecution stopped? You completely ignore those who was persecuted when you know the history. You know about Samai. You know about Bilal, another black man who was persecuted. I like Bilal's story. I like Samaya too. But they say that Prophet Muhammad, he was standing around saying, how we gonna have, the Christians got the bell when they pray. They sound this bell and everybody come to pray. The Jews got a horn. What we gonna do to remind us to pray? They say Bilal just climbed on top of the Kaaba and just started singing Allahu Akbar. The black man. Yes. Just like how Marvin Gaye and Whitney Houston. White man like, who we gonna have sing the national anthem? You a nigga who oppressed. Nigga who ain't benefiting from none of the benefits of but you get up there and sing the national anthem better than the white man. Marvin Gaye and Whitney Houston. Just like with Bilal. The black man. What we gonna do? Let me just climb on top. Just get to singing. They say Bilal could sing, had a beautiful voice. But when we look at Islam, we hear so many Arabs do it. We don't even know a black man started that. Then let's talk about Hagar. Another black woman. But the clock or the calendar start at 6:22. Hagar. Another black woman. Another mother. Sacrificing it all for Allah. Abraham, according to the story, Sarah got mad at Hagar. She was mad because she felt some kind of way about Ishmael. So she told Abraham he needed to get rid of Hagar. So Abraham takes Hagar into the desert. Just leave her there with her baby. This is the first time the Bible talks about a woman called on God and he heard her. It was Hagar. She trusted in Allah. According to the story, it says that God told her don't go back to Abraham, to just stay in the wilderness. Could you imagine that? You got your baby. Ain't no water nowhere. And God tell you to stay there. Ain't no people there. So Hagar, they say she was running between two hills. I forget the name, Zamzam, I guess. She was running between two hills looking for water. And she found what they call the Zamzam well or whatever. So now all the Muslims, during their Hajj, do that running between the two hills. Because of Hagar, the black woman from Egypt. She the reason why. But the clock or the calendar started 622. All the sacrifices for Islam came from the black man. But the messenger said, we are the stone that the builders rejected. We ain't nothing but some niggas. Even though everybody's standing on our backs, but we ain't nothing but some niggas. Even in the Muslim world, black man ain't nothing but a nigga. But God came. That's the one thing we always got to remember. God came. Yes, sir. He came to North America, seeking to save that which is lost. That's why all the people like niggas like Bishop, they always like to talk about them Arabs don't even agree with the Nation of Islam. They don't even agree with what y'all talk. So what? Right. That's how niggas think. Niggas think they the Muslims. Even though the Holy Quran says that Bilal or Luqman was a Muslim. Long before the Arabs. It says that Allah sends prophets and messengers to all the people. He said Adam was the first one. He said all the people from Adam on down to the day. But the Arabs, they started Islam with themselves. Everybody loved it they started, so they can say Islam is a new religion. But the messenger taught us, God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, July 4th, 1930. He is that long-awaited Savior. He is the one who taught the black man a thorough knowledge of self. He said, you are a Muslim by nature. Yes. You ain't no person that have to go through rituals. All you have to do is accept your own and be yourself. Yes. So let's go on with the message. Let's talk about this new world of Islam that the messenger taught us was coming in. We're going to go to one of my most favorite sisters, Marjorie Hassan. She always going to go down in my history as one of the ones that took me to a whole nother level in Islam. Got to give her credit. Yes. I can still remember the first time I read a Marjorie Hassan article. I didn't know, no disrespect. I didn't know sisters was that heavy. I'm going to keep it real. You know, you think Nation of Islam about brothers. Sisters just get in where they fit in. That's how you be thinking at first. Then you start reading the Muhammad Speaks. Then you stumble over Marjorie Hassan, like, wow, sister pretty heavy. Then you read Anna Kareem, Baina Sharif. All these, I'm talking about teaching like they ministers. That's why the messenger gave it to everybody. He gave us, they say he was like a fountain. Just couldn't turn him off. If you was around him, you just got wet by his fountain. So this Sister Marjorie Hassan, in the June 21st, 1974, Muhammad Speaks, is called Muhammad, the Spirit of Truth. She says the enlightening article written by Messenger Muhammad entitled Islam is brought to you by popular request. The message delivered to us by Messenger Muhammad in this article is a vital message to us, the black people in America. She says, no wonder the Jesus said in the Bible, in referring to Messenger Muhammad, that when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. We can bear witness by reading his article that the Spirit of truth is Messenger Muhammad. For only Messenger Muhammad can and does guide us into all truth. That's the messenger. When the Bible, once again, in that symbolic language, it talks about the Spirit of truth coming. We don't want to accept that the messenger is that Spirit of truth. But he is the black man. When you look at the messenger, just get a get you a 1968 Muhammad Speaks. Just look through it. The messenger had radio broadcasts. He had all the cities that he was coming on the radio teaching Islam. Then the messenger had records. The messenger had books. He had message to the black man, how to eat to live. Messenger had temples. Messenger had a newspaper. Messenger had ministers. The messenger had brothers all on the corner selling papers. No black man gave us that much truth in the history of us being in America. And he just freely gave it away. Messenger gave, that's like they be talking about free game. No black man gave us free game like the messenger gave us free game. He didn't require us to do nothing for it. You could be just sitting at home, turn the radio on, and get all the free game that now niggas act like they so smart to give. The messenger just freely gave. Because what a lot of these how to eat to live niggas do today, act like they smarter than the messenger. The messenger knew he was coming to a deaf, dumb, and blind people. So he took what was sophisticated and brought it down to our language. So a lot of stuff, he didn't even have to go so much into this philosophical detail. He just gave it to us simple and plain. So now these how to eat to live niggas take the simple and plain and take it back up to this high level and make it seem like I know all the enzymes and the electrolytes in your body, and the messenger done taught us that.
Yes, sir.
That's all niggas do. Because the messenger is that Spirit of truth.
Yes, sir.
This nigga Bishop. This nigga want to be the messenger so bad. That's why I love talking about this nigga. I want the world to know you still got Muslims who love the messenger. That's why I talk about that nigga Bishop so much. It's because I don't want nobody to think when they see these niggas, like, what's up with Muhammad? Muhammad's still around, whether you accept it or not.
That's right.
It's still Muslims who love him.
That's right.
The messenger said, he said, even if you kill one, another little Elijah pop up over here.
That's right.
He said that when he was alive. He been gone for 50 years. It's still little Elijah's popping up. I know in that hypocrite Louis Eugene. Let's talk about this hypocrite for a minute, then we're going to get back to the subject. I know that hypocrite Louis Eugene. He probably never thought it would be Muslims who could teach Islam just as good as he can and ain't never seen the message.
That's right.
I bet this hypocrite never thought you would have Muslims who love the messenger just like we was back there in the 60s.
Yes.
This nigga thought everybody was gonna follow him.
Mm-hmm.
He thought everybody was gonna worship him.
Mm-hmm.
But to his disbelief, you got Muslims who still love the message.
Right.
This nigga Bishop, when he became friends with this hypocrite, he thought it wasn't nobody who loved the message. Until this nigga saw Detroit. I just want to let you know, nigga, when we get a hold to you, we gonna enjoy humiliating you like you enjoy trying to humiliate the message. It ain't gonna be no love lost. We gonna be sitting there looking at this nigga like I've been waiting a long time for this. The first time I heard this nigga, I'ma tell everybody, we gonna move on. The first time I heard this nigga and started hating him, they was talking about that video called Who Killed Malcolm X? At this time, I didn't like the nigga, but I ain't gonna say I hated him at this time. Cause hate is a strong word. So when I was listening to this nigga, I didn't like him. I didn't like IUIC, but I didn't hate the nigga. When I sat there and listened to this nigga say, when Malcolm X said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He said Elijah Muhammad didn't teach him. He said the Israelites taught him. That's when I started hating that nigga. I still remember, I couldn't believe a nigga would lie like that. He said when Malcolm X was saying, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad ain't teach that, we taught him the Bible. That's when I started hating this nigga. My hate for this nigga grows more and more and more because no Muslims defend the message. It's like your father. Your father leave you an inheritance. You got brothers and sisters that don't even do nothing to try to keep your father's, and you saw your father work hard to leave this to you. And you looking at them like you just gonna let all this go. You just gonna let him have it. He ain't do nothing for it. Daddy worked hard to leave this to us. That's how I feel about this nigga. Honorable Elijah Muhammad worked hard. He worked tirelessly. Not only did he work hard, he explained to us about his hard work. He said one time, just like any man, I wanted to be a father to my children. Sometimes you listen to the messenger and you could just feel his pain.
Yes.
Because he don't be lying. He'll just be sitting there talking and he'll just get into his history. Like any man. I wanted to be a father to my children too. But he said I couldn't. I'm the messenger. I gotta teach Islam. I had to run, going door to door. Still gotta spread Islam. He said the messenger said, Allah holds him responsible for us not getting the truth. That's what could you imagine that much pressure? You the one who got to get the truth to 50 million people. You in here with the devil. The black man deaf, dumb, and blind. The black man eating hard. The black man believe in a spook. The black man hate himself. The black man love the devil. The white man killing him for pleasure. He won't even defend himself. But you the one who God choose. You gotta teach him. You gotta go to the prison. Even the prison brother. Because the messenger was the first one to show love to a prisoner. They deserve to get the truth too. Messenger got ministers going into prison. making sure the brothers in prison getting what they need. Messenger had brothers all on the street. Messenger got brothers in the college, brothers on the radio. He did all he could to try to leave us with the best. Even before he died, he said, hold on to Islam. He said, no matter what you do, just hold on to Islam. Yes. He said, Islam is like a plow. He said, it won't let you go. You have to let it go. So now you fast forward to 2025. Look how many Muslims done just let it go. But just like the messengers say, they won't leave though. The nigga let Islam go. You see the nigga doing karaoke every day. You see the nigga lead a temple, he right there with the lost found, singing songs. You see niggas with their dogs, niggas with their pets, niggas marrying lost found, niggas all at the movies, all at the football games, going to the casino, eating shrimp, doing all kind of foolishness. Just let it go.
Yes, sir.
But they won't leave. That's what you got to remember.
Right.
They let Islam go. And it's obvious they let it go, but they won't leave. They just stick around and try to draw the people to their foolishness. Because the messenger said, the greatest desire of a hypocrite is to turn you away. It ain't for him to leave. It's for him to turn you away. So when Savior's Day comes, it's going to be the biggest lip love convention you ever see. Everybody going to be talking about how they the true follower of the messenger and all that. But the messenger said, Islam is not what you say. Islam is what you practice. You can tell the difference between a Muslim that's holding on and a Muslim that let go. You can see the difference. That's why you got to, the messenger said you got to be careful in who you call your friends in this day. Yes. You got to cut them loose. Once you see a brother is so out of his mind that he would go to karaoke and he's supposed to be a minister, you cut him loose. You see a nigga that got a dog. He all in the dog's face. He's sharing all these pictures like he love the dog, he trusts the dog. You gotta cut him loose. Cut him loose. You see him all at the video games, all at the football games, all at the going all out to sport and play. You gotta cut him loose. Yes, sir. Cause you gotta think about yourself. You got to keep yourself straight. You got to do it for your family and for the lost founds too. Because the messenger said, he said, we are responsible. He said, once you know Islam, you held responsible for what you know. We got to remember that. Because we living in the last days. We think we playing around, but we responsible for what we know. If we know we ain't supposed to go to sport and play, we held responsible for that. That's right. You a minister up in karaoke. All them lost founds that you drawn away from Islam, you responsible for them. That's right. They blood is on your hands. While you finger popping. While you singing all the love songs. They blood is on your hands. All the black people see you sharing these pictures with dogs. Then they say ain't nothing wrong with a dog. Messengers say the hog is made from rat, cat, and dog. Another thing, when you don't defend the messenger, because the lost files looking at us like we Muslims. So when they hear somebody like Bishop, they expecting us to say something in defense of the messenger. Yes. You a Muslim, just like if you married. Or you got children. If something happened to your children, everybody expect the mother to say or do something. So they looking at the mama like, dang, she ain't gonna do nothing to them her kids. Same with the messenger. We responsible. We showing the world we Muslims. We got these holy names. We got these, we try to act like we represent the messenger and we living the life. So we responsible for what we know. We always got to remember that. Because the messenger taught us. He said Islam counts for nothing unless it's carried into practice. That's the most important thing we can remember, especially in this time. Because the white man, the messenger said that Allah is going to turn the white man back loose. Yep. What you going to do then? Then you going to try to come back and run to the messenger say the door might be closed. Yes. You don't have all day to just be playing with Allah and think, oh, nah, let me go back. No. What if the door closed? What if we ain't got no room for you? That's what it's going to be so many people might not even have no room for you. So many lost found. Now you got to stay out there with the devil. Because the devil's world is falling as we just every day we look. Yeah. We can see Trump. We can see how he turning against the black man. We can see how black people don't know what to do. It's fertile ground for the teachings of the message. The black man's ears is a little bit more open to what the messenger said now.
Oh, that's right.
Because we all can see something is wrong. Something is about to go down, but they just don't know what. Well, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time. So I leave you as I came in the nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Enjoying the show? Help keep us on the air. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033 to make a donation.
Brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent, the merciful, sole master's day of judgment in which we now live. The alone do we serve, and the alone teach for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path of those upon whom thou spell thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none is earth to be served, worship, or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone that we wouldn't have done it to ourselves and treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.